Welcome to On the Block, where two college friends dive deep into Big Brother. I'm Dory.
And I'm Khadeja, and we'll be giving you our honest thoughts on the contestants, the competition, and all the drama.
So sit back, relax, and we will spill the tea on every twist and turn in the game. Join us on the block.
All right, so we are in week 3, and this week we have Cedric as our HOH. How are we feeling about a Cedric HOH?
So I was very glad because we all know Cedric was in my top 5 since week 1. So I'm happy he won, especially after Chelsea was HOH last week, because it just gives them, some room to make some damage in this game. They were both mascots. Now they're both HOHs. I just love that for them.
Speaking of that, you notice how, remember in the episode where Cedric literally mentions that to the entire
In front of
house?
the whole house, like,
Like,
I agree with Chelsea. That's not something you gotta say, my friend. Like,
like why you
keep
letting the
that.
whole house know that y'all came from the mud and now you're up? Like,
You could have kept that between you and Chelsea. That wasn't something the whole house needed. But he was excited.
yeah,
Cedric is 21 years old, so he's still giving a little
yes.
child. So I get it. But honestly, stop. No one needs to know that. So,
Okay, y'all. So we had a lot of drama this week. So I'm just gonna get right into the stats so we could get to that because that's what really we're here for.
yeah, because my
So
notes literally say, what the fuck is going on, bro? Because last week was crazy.
so
So,
as I mentioned, we have Cedric as the HOH, and the three people that he decides to nominate is Angela, Kenny, and Tucker. Angela and Kenny is like kind of like a piggyback from like last week and the week before. Angela is just enemy number one still, and Kenny is just always saying he wants to go home, so why not throw him up? And Tucker, thinking he the savior of the house, he always trying to volunteer for the block. So we have another lineup that look very similar to the last couple weeks. So we have those noms, and then in the veto competition, our veto winner is
Tucker.
Tucker.
What a surprise. It's really giving Michael from the cookout season.
Like, boy,
Because
you need to chill out. You need to
why
chill
are you
out.
winning everything? And then for the BBAI Arena, we also have Tucker as the winner. And we'll get to how that even makes sense because he won veto, question
Yes.
mark. And then Kenny was unfortunately, but fortunately, evicted from the game because I was tired of him complaining.
Honestly, it was so confusing because it's like you're playing this game, like you're doing really well, but it's just like you cannot shut up about how much you want to go home. Like,
Yeah, and I understood his eviction talk with Julie. He just severely underestimated the pressure of the game, and especially because he has very young kids at home, he
yeah.
is missing like critical points in their life and they're growing up. So I get it. Um, but yeah, Kenny's gone. I thought it was a strategy last week, but clearly I was mistaken because he was really dead ass about not being in this house. But let's just get into the drama because honestly, this week was upside down, inside out, and turned up all in inside itself. So let's go.
All right, so this week starts with obviously, Cedric went HOH, but he got to talk to his alliance. He doesn't know who to put up on the block. He has a few ideas, but he goes to his girl Chelsea, and Chelsea has to let him know that hey, last week when I was HOH, Leah and MJ, they had your name in their mouths. So, and everyone at this point, and everyone at this point knows MJ has the power. So, it would be a good week to put her up on the block. How do you feel about that?
I I mean that was information Cedric needed to know because it gives him more options for people to put on the block, and he was never really talking game with Leah. He was never really talking game with MJ, so why not?
Yeah, I honestly didn't even understand why they brought up his name, like,
Mhm.
especially so early.
Yeah. And
But,
with Chelsea telling Cedric that, it also reminds me of a point last week where Quinn was telling Leah things about Cedric, like trying to basically turn Leah against Cedric.
mm,
And that spiraled into this whole thing with Leah and Cam. Because I noticed last week week 2, on feeds, Leah and Cam were forming some sort of relationship, some sort of showmance that Chelsea and Cedric were very skeptical of. They were wondering if Cam was really even with them or not with them because of his growing relationship with MJ and Leah.
Yeah.
Turns out Cam really did have the feels for Leah because Chelsea also had the feels for Cam. And she went through this whole thing in her diary room on who's liking
Yeah,
who has
bro.
eyes
It's like,
on who. I'm like, yo,
yeah, they had like this whole little segment because Chelsea's like, okay, like I was vibing a little bit Cam, but like she was like, I'm not gonna pay that no mind because Cam seems to like Cam seems to like Leah, but Leah seems to like Tucker. Like, what is going
yeah,
on? Like,
it
that's
was
why I'm like, I'm
crazy.
not really paying attention to it. I don't really think we're gonna have any true showmances this season. It seems
Yeah.
like everybody's head is just really in the game.
And I will say this, it's funny that she said that because later in the week, Rubina and Tucker had a very steamy
Really?
conversation and like touchy feely grabby almost kissy
What?
picking up
Oh my
in
god, Big Brother,
in one
you
of the
need to step it
bedrooms.
up because why am I not seeing these moments in the
Yo,
shows? Like,
I think it'll be something that comes on
yeah,
this
it'll
next
probably come
week.
out to it probably already came out on Sunday's episode. They probably showed some of that.
I didn't watch it yet.
Me neither. That's what I'm saying. They probably
We're gonna
showed some of
catch
that
up.
though.
Yeah, but yeah, a lot of people are feeling a lot of people, but the way I view Tucker in this game, he's not going to let a showmance affect how he plays this game. He's too much of a wild card, and to add a showmance onto that will just distract him.
Yes.
So I can see him being like a fuckboy in this situation. Like we may have had a moment, but this is not something I'm gonna take seriously. So let's just cool it, okay? But yeah, so Cedric and Chelsea have that conversation, and Cedric runs around the house trying to figure out who he's going to nominate as a third
Yes.
nominee because he doesn't want to ruffle any feathers. He really wanted his HOH to go as squeaky clean as Chelsea's did, but you guys are very different players with very different relationships in the house, so you need to do what's best for your game.
I never understand when the HOH will go around and they'll ask everybody like, "Hey, like, do you mind being a pawn?" It's like, who's gonna
Like,
say yes to that?
no
And it's
one's
like,
going to say
even if
yes.
even if they say no, like, boy, if you don't do what you need to do, like, this is your HOH. Why are you telling people no? Don't put me up. Go talk to other
Hmm.
people. Like,
And this just reminds me because he did go to Joseph in, like, okay, so he went to several different people. He went to Rubina, he went to Leah, I think he went to MJ as well. And his last saving grace was Joseph. And Joseph was like, absolutely not. I am not going on the block. You have other options. Like, find somebody else. And I
like,
think and I think that conversation is what results in Tucker thinking that like this collective may not be as strong as I thought because why are you even looking at me to
okay, so
come up as
remind
a
us again
pawn?
because remind us again who is in the collective because we've only really established like we know we have the like actually let's establish all of them like who are really the strong alliances in the house right now.
So the collective is Cam, Chemo, Joseph, Chelsea, Cedric, Takor, Brooklyn, and Quinn.
Okay.
Then we have the Pentagon, which is Cam, Cedric, Chelsea, Quinn, and Brooklyn. Then we have the Andersons,
Oh my god.
which is Quinn, Tucker, Cam, and Chemo. Then we have the Crow Boys, which is Joseph, Quinn, and Chemo. Then we have the Girls Alliance, which is all the girls. Then we have a final two of Brooklyn and Rubina, Joseph and Tucker, Quinn and Leah, Quinn and Rubina.
Okay,
And then
so are all of these legit? Like you really think
yeah,
all of these are legit? Every last one of them?
all of these are confirmed, locked in. But as far as the final twos, I don't think some of them are as strong
What
as
what are
people
these
think.
people thinking? What are you gonna do when you win HOH and you're in three different alliances? Who are you gonna put up on the block?
And
Especially
this
now that you
is
have to nominate three people. Oh
and
my
this is
god.
why I'm like, what is Quinn doing in this game? Because the common denominator in almost all of these alliances, or at least 80% of them, is Quinn. Quinn is in the Crow Boys. He's in the Andersons. He has a final two with Leah and Rubina, and Angela. He's in the Pentagon. He's in the Collective. What are you gonna do? It's giving Andy. Because when Andy won HOH in his season, everybody was like, "Oh, I'm safe. I've been working so
Oh my
closely with
god.
Andy." And Andy's in the DR like, who the
But at
fuck am
least
I
with
gonna nominate?
Andy, he didn't win HOH till like way later.
Way later, yeah. But
Like
still, it's like, I get it. You never want to say no to an alliance, but at the same time, you have to cool it. Like,
but
pick
you also have to
something.
establish like, hey, which ones am I loyal to? And if you're really
Yeah.
gonna do that, you need to go to your loyal alliance and be like, hey, like this person approached me and this person approached me. But if you hear
Yeah.
anything, it's
Hmm.
not for real. I'm with y'all. But he's not doing that. He's riding all of these,
He's
and
not.
that's why he running around the house, scared of Angela, wanting Angela out because she knows his big secret, and he buddy with everybody. Ugh,
Hmm.
Quinn.
And yeah, so, but I will say right now, for at least the TV viewers, the only alliances you really need to care about are the Pentagon and the Collective.
And that's what I assumed too. That's why I was like, I don't. When these other people, start, because I was mentioning that to Dory, because like we're wondering why a lot of people that are really active on the feeds aren't really getting camera time, and I feel like you're not really gonna get camera time until you start winning, or like we're down to like the final like 7 or like lower than that, and that's what we really see if all these alliances are really as true as they are. Because right now
Yeah.
it seems like the house is real comfortable throwing up the same 3, 4 people on the block every week. So
Hmm.
we'll see.
And that's why I'm happy Tucker's in this game, because we all know what Tucker did, but we'll get to
Yes,
how that all
that
unfolds.
crazy man.
So, Tucker's trying to scramble for a third nominee. He thinks that Joseph will be his saving grace. Joseph deads that shit right then and there.
Yeah.
And later in the week, later that day, Tucker volunteers to go on the block because he's like, yeah, I'll just win the veto and take myself off, whatever. Um, and Joseph decides that he wants to go and rat out the Collective to Tucker.
Uh,
And he does this in hopes to grow a relationship with Tucker and hopefully take people out one by one when Tucker wins HOH. So that was a whole little thing in itself that was brewing throughout the
I
week
mean,
alongside Tucker's shenanigans.
I get it. If I would understand it more, I would understand it
Hmm.
more on Joseph's part if Tucker wasn't this kind of bomb waiting to explode. It
Yeah,
was. It was. I see where he's going with it though, but like,
yeah. And then also to even piggyback off of that, so oh my gosh. Cedric nominates Tucker, Kenny, and Angela. So they're waiting to go play the veto. Mackenzie and Leah also get picked for the veto. So they're waiting to go play to see who wins. Quinn is in the house causing drama. And Quinn doesn't even realize the effect of what he's doing because his game was slowly unraveling as this week went on, and he had no idea.
yeah,
Quinn literally thought he was the best liar in the house. Even in his DRs, we all seen, he thought he was in such a good position. He was lying to all these people. He was so well positioned. But meanwhile, everyone's behind his back spreading his business. So while Quinn is running amok in this house, he tells Joseph about the Pentagon Alliance. And this wasn't something I feel like he intentionally wanted to happen, but it kind of slipped up in conversation. And then he ended up was like, yeah, like, the Pentagon is an alliance. We have this, and this. People are in it. And I feel like that's also why Joseph was like, damn, like, you guys have this whole other 5-person alliance in the house that I'm not even a part of.
yeah,
There's rumors going around that this power is still in the game. I don't know who has it. People are saying Quinn has it. People still think Lisa has it. What's going on? So I really understand Joseph and what he did because I would have done the same thing too. If I feel like there's people in my alliance lying to me, I'm going to branch out and do what I got to do because you're not going to
yeah.
have my back when it matters. So,
Except Tucker. who you're telling.
Mm,
Can they really keep
mm.
their mouth closed, or if when they have to get themselves out of a jam, they're gonna blow your spot?
Yeah, because Tucker was the one telling everybody that Quinn had the power because he wanted it flushed out so bad after
Mm.
he found out that MJ had the power. And after he found out MJ had it, and then Angela had that conversation with him in the backyard, he kind of put two and two together, and then Chemo confirmed it.
Yeah,
So now Tucker's like, we need to get these powers out. This week is getting stale. Like, no one's really playing the
I get
game
it. I get
hard.
it. I was saying the
I'm
same
going to do
thing.
what I got to do, and I'm going to cause the drama. And that's exactly what he did. He gave us everything we needed for
This
that
boy made
week.
history. This boy made history this week.
He did. He did. And also a little side note on Quinn this week. He made another final two with Rubina, like I mentioned before. And it's like, how many final twos are you going to make? Because not all of these are going to last.
I can't wait till this man get out of this house. Oh, I'm
Like,
such a hater. I'm a hater, y'all. I'm a Quinn hater. Like,
yeah.
I want him to get out this week so bad.
Hmm.
But
So MJ and Leah are picked to play the veto. They play the veto, and surprise, surprise, Tucker wins. He is the comp beast of the season, and this is why I'm so happy I knocked MJ off my list and added Tucker. Because Tucker's giving me everything I need. He's giving me the drama, the unpredictableness. He's the wild card
okay,
I
is this
can
your favorite
want.
player or the player most likely to win? Because from my point of view, Tucker is in trouble.
Tucker Tucker's in trouble, but also Tucker is a force to be reckoned with because you really need to backdoor him to get him out the house at this point.
And I mean, I
How
feel
I
like
see it.
this three-person alliance, this three nomination thing is not going to go on for long. I feel like at a certain
Yeah.
point they're going to cut it out. BB Arena is not going to be here all season, guys. We know that.
Yeah,
We're
it's
probably going
gonna,
to
I think once jury comes, it's gonna
BB
maybe
Arena
not
is
be a
going to
thing.
end.
Yeah. But also, I go into these episodes, I go into these podcast episodes already knowing the next week. Um, even though Tucker caused so much drama, there were people that still wanted to work with him. And even same for Quinn. Like, Quinn was really public enemy number one for like 3 days in the house, but people still wanted to keep him in their back pocket and still wanted to work with him. So this cast is very confusing because it's like they want all the secrets to be out on the table, but then they don't want to eliminate anybody who's causing the drama. So it's like, I don't get it, but I see. I don't know. They're weird in the house for sure. So MJ and Leah are playing in the veto. Tucker wins, and Tucker comes up with this brilliant plan of using the veto on Angela and convincing Cedric to put Quinn on the block. And this is after Tucker tells Cam that Quinn has the power. And at this point, that Cam knows, the entire house knows. So Cedric and Cam have a talk, and they basically are trying to figure out, like, hey, what is logically the best option for us? Because Tucker is very emotional. He's all over the place right now. And logically, Quinn is in the Pentagon. So we're going to have to make a move. Um, can't Cedric literally says logically Quinn is in the pentatonics, is in the Pentagon. So if we were going to make a move, we would have to tell all the other members of the Pentagon. And I agreed with that, and I felt like that was a smart part of thinking for Cedric, because if he were to actually go with Tucker's plan and
Yeah, he's
blindside Quinn
blindsiding
on the
everyone in his
block,
alliance.
he would have fucked up his entire alliance. Like, nobody would have trusted him again. Nobody would have wanted to work with him. And he was going to be public enemy number one for the next week because he can't play in the HOH.
I mean, I feel like the Pentagon is definitely still, very spectacle of Quinn, and I definitely feel like when it gets down to a point where like if it is just them, he's gonna be one of the first people to go because
Hmm.
they're not gonna forget this. But like at this point in the game, like we know the power now. We know if anything happens, um, it's him. So he can't really use it anymore. So why get rid of a number because he lied to us, a lie that, we already
Yeah.
kind of squashed.
And that was the whole thing this week was Quinn is aligned with so many people. So when Tucker told everybody, well, when Tucker started spreading that Quinn had the power and then word got out to everybody and all of Quinn's allies, everybody was just mad that they didn't know.
Yeah, they
Because,
weren't even mad
like,
about the
you're
power because
supposed
at the
to,
end of the day, somebody has to have it, you
yeah,
know?
it was just like, if we're supposed to be aligned, why didn't you tell me? And that also made T-Core upset with Chemo because Chemo was one of the first people to know. And T-Core and Chemo are like two peas in a pod.
Yeah, like
Like,
why are you telling Tucker,
and
but
not
you're
me.
not telling your one of your closest allies? Like that doesn't make
Exactly.
any sense to me. Like,
Hmm. It was just bad for everybody. And that's what they were really mad. And that's why all the drama unfolded the way it did in the show because they were just emotional that Quinn didn't say anything.
yeah, I could see that.
But again, this is Big Brother. Quinn doesn't have to tell y'all
Yes, like
shit.
honestly, like
Like,
in my mind, like I feel like when I first thought that this was going around, I don't know why I was like, I don't think Chelsea's even gonna be mad. Like people that like really understand the game and like I feel like a lot of people if they were in his position, they wouldn't say anything either. Like no one would be doing all this if it wasn't for Mackenzie. Like it wasn't for
hmm,
freaking MJ going around telling everybody. Now they're like, okay, so MJ got this one. Who has the other one?
yeah,
And I completely believe that Quinn really wasn't going to use it because like who was really going to be HOH that like he had to like take over their whole thing. Like yeah, I would
yeah,
have loved to see it get used, for the sake of Big Brother, but at this point like the suspense is gone. They'll all know
yeah,
it's him. Like he's not going to use it, and if the only way he would use it is if he really thinks that
hmm,
he's going to go home. And the fact that he was saved this week and he still sees that he has allies, the power is not going to be used. So it's just
yeah,
like that's another reason why I feel like Tucker's kind of in trouble because like you did this whole big blow up for no reason.
yeah.
Like you should have took your L when you did what you did and kept it pushing.
And I was also very, very confused as to why Cedric, because we all saw the moment in the episode where they were all in one of the bedrooms in the pink room,
Yeah.
and they were all cornering Cedric about what happened and what the plan was.
Yeah, let's
And then
actually get into
Cedric,
that because I'll get into the whole like house meeting. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about
yeah,
like the veto and so
yeah,
we have been kind of hinting to Tucker doing something pretty wild this week. So let's just get into it. So Tucker decides to pull a move that has not been used very often. And when it is moved, a lot of the times it's like showmances, father and daughter. Like you don't see people just doing this for no reason. So Tucker
hmm,
actually does decide to go ahead and use the veto on Angela because he believes that his plan that he had with Cedric was really going to happen. So he
yeah. And it
decides
was
to use
because
that.
Cedric was sitting there low key agreeing, but of course you're going to agree.
Yes, but in the end, Cedric really did tell him, right before the veto meeting, like, hey, I don't think we have the votes. You should use it. But Tucker Swimmer's like, I don't give a fuck about the votes. I'm still going to do it. And Cedric was
Yeah.
like, shit, all right, I warned you.
Hmm.
So Tucker uses it, and everyone is shocked because they're like, what the hell? Or like, they're pretending to be shocked, whatever. And he's basically like, we got to get these powers out of here. I want to play. Let's do it. So he's expecting Cedric to put Quinn on the block because they're like, let's put Quinn on the block and get him out of here because he has the power and like at this point he won't be able to use it anymore. But
Yeah.
Cedric being, smart about it and like, hey, I'm not gonna do this to an alliance member and blow up my whole game just because Tucker wants to get him out so bad. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna throw MJ up there, right? And we
Hmm.
all know that MJ has America's veto to where if she's put on the block, she can activate it, which she did. And now the third nominee, America, is gonna vote for the third person, and they won't know until eviction night who's gonna be the third one.
Hmm.
So now we're at the point where the house is like, what does America think of us? Like, who's gonna go on the block? And they're probably doing all the scenarios of like who they're gonna vote out if who goes up. So how did that affect the drama in the house this week, Dory?
So Basically, the only people who genuinely knew this from beginning to end were the Pentagon, because Cedric had a meeting with them, I think 2 hours before the veto meeting, and was like, Tucker's trying to make this plan where he's going to use the veto on Angela and he wants me to put Quinn up because Quinn has the power. And Quinn's like, yo, what the fuck? Like, what?
And at
And
this point,
Cedric's
he
like,
still didn't admit it, huh?
yeah, he's still, and that's the thing. Everybody knows, and Quinn was very much not admitting. Like, we all know, stop lying. But whatever, to each is their own. Cedric ultimately decides that he doesn't want to blindside Quinn because he realizes how valuable Quinn would be in the long term, and he wanted to preserve his allies and his connections in the game with the Collective and the Pentagon. So the Pentagon is top priority right now, but those two alliances are very much in effect and
Very much
together.
who's pretty much
So
running the house right now.
yeah, so they all knew. Everybody in the house did not know. And they
But
had this blow up and they were very much shocked, like, how did this even happen? Like, what was the plan? What was Tucker talking about? Like, why are you on Tucker's shit list right now? And
yeah,
Cedric was like, I don't even want to explain this because it's going to get misconstrued.
which
And
I
I
loved.
told
I actually
Tucker,
loved that. I was like,
mhm,
he was like, you know what? This is Tucker's plan. Let's have a house meeting and let's let
and
Tucker
let's just put
explain it.
everything out on the table. And Cedric even told Tucker, like, use it on yourself. Like, as HOH, use it on yourself because, like you said, the votes weren't there. But Cedric was like, I. Like, you're a grown ass man. You're going to do what you're going to do. I'm not going to sit here and force you to make a decision. So he did what he did. But since y'all want to ask me what happened, why don't we just get the mastermind behind it to explain why he did what he did? Because this is not my plan to even facilitate. If he wants to do that on your own HOH type beat. So he brings that conversation to the living room, and Tucker basically explains, I know that Quinn has the power and it's the deep fake HOH where he can hijack anybody's HOH, and I brought it to Cedric because I wanted to flush out the powers. And he didn't want to like put MJ on the block or whatever, and he made it seem like he was going to actually do it and blindside Quinn, but then he ended up putting MJ on the block. So that's basically what happened, and everybody was like, yo, what the fuck, like, da da da. But they all knew, and that was just basically the whole thing. And my thoughts on it was like, Cedric, if you wanted to protect Quinn because that's your ally and you didn't want your game to get blown up or Quinn's game to get blown up because you guys are in two alliances together, why call a house meeting to have Tucker explain himself when you know Tucker does not give two flying
And
fucks
he's
and will say what he wants to say?
I
Because
mean, I
now,
also feel like in a way, like he's like Tucker's gonna reveal Quinn power. I don't really think Tucker said anything in that meeting that wasn't kind of like house knowledge at that point, you know?
yeah, but at the same
But
time,
it
it's
was still a
like,
gamble. It was still a gamble for sure.
yeah, but I think Cedric didn't anticipate it for him to be the one to get the backlash too. Like, I
Hmm.
don't think he thought that Tucker would really be that upset, but the fact that Tucker was kind of like a shot in the foot. Like,
I mean, the man took
you know,
himself off the block thinking that you're gonna put up this competitor next to him, and you didn't. Like, you don't think he's gonna be
yeah,
upset?
he left himself on the block.
Yeah, he did. That was
Like,
very
that's
dumb.
crazy.
If he had
And
went home this
honestly,
week, he would have went down
that
in history, dog. He would have been on
Yo,
some YouTube
because that's
pages.
never happened in Big Brother. Like, the only time somebody used a veto on somebody else who was on the block and then stayed in the house was season 7 when Dick and Danielle played and he
And
threw
that
the
was
kids
because
off the block.
America helped.
Yeah. So for this to happen naturally, crazy. Crazy.
I mean, he's really that good.
Yeah. So after the veto meeting, there were a few things that happened that weren't shown on the show. So I'll kind of touch on that really quick. Um, Quinn and Angela had a fight because even though it appeared to be house knowledge that all of this stuff was going on, Angela was the only person that had no clue. So when you saw her react the way she did, that was honest and true because she had no idea. And I think this was cut off the feeds, but we know it happened because we heard it on some of the other cameras on the feeds that and house guests were talking about it, that Quinn and Angela had an argument in the kitchen. And I just want to say, big brother, stop cutting the feeds. Like, if you want to have live feeds for this show, run the cameras 24/7. I don't care if these people ruin their image. This is what they signed up for. Stop cutting the feeds.
Like,
Stop
you
cutting
are
the
grown
fights.
people. Like, you know
Stop
you're being
protecting
recorded. Stop
people.
saying out of pocket shit.
Like, I want to see it. This is what we came for. This is what we're paying for. So stop cutting the feeds. But that happened. And I think we also preluded to Kenny, and Kenny thinking that there's a group, a girls alliance, and he thought that Brooklyn was the ringleader of
Oh
this
my
girls
god.
alliance. So I'm not sure how Brooklyn found out, but she found out, and they have a fight. And Kenny was completely blindsided by this fight. Like, he didn't know how to defend himself. He didn't know what to say. He
I
wasn't
don't think he
prepared
ever
for
really
it.
expected anyone to check him about anything he said in this
Yeah,
game.
he had no idea that she knew all of these things that he said about her. It wasn't that eventful, but it happened. Angela sat through the entire thing, and Brooklyn was really like, she had way too much dip on her chip after that because she went and told the story about 4 different times. Um,
She felt good, huh?
yeah, she was like, yo, her chest was puffed up. Like, yeah, girl, do something because at this point, I even forgot you was in the house.
Boy, she not getting no screen time. That's why this fight wasn't on
Yeah,
the damn show, because like,
yeah, because
bro,
these people aren't getting screen
until you
time.
start winning something or you start having some sort of good social game, you ain't getting no type of
Hmm.
screen time. So she probably thinking, oh yeah, America just saw just saw me chew Kenny out. Nah, bro, only the life feeds.
Yeah, so that was another thing that happened off feed. Um, one other thing I just wanted to talk about because I preluded this, Leah and Cam having a showmance.
Oh my god.
That was very much a thing. And, obviously Chelsea had her moment in the DR explaining the whole love fiasco in the house. Cam was really feeling Leah and he wanted to stick his neck out for her because when it came down to Tucker winning the veto, Cedric was between putting her or MJ up. And he didn't want to put MJ up because he wanted to eventually work with her down the line. So he was considering Leah. And Cedric and Cam, they're tight. So that information was shared. And Cam goes to Leah while she's in the shower and tells her. But Cam finds out that Leah was telling MJ this information, which, side note, is also crazy because they fake don't like each other. So I'm like, what is this? What is this beef? This Brittany Paris beef going on? Because I don't understand. But Cam told Leah, and he eventually got upset with her because she told MJ information that he shared with her in confidence, and he was like, you know what, like, I'm not going to talk to her again. Like, and he even told Cedric this. He was like, I'm not even talking to Shorty. Like, it just gives me the ick that like she's out here running
I
her
mean,
mouth.
but like,
Blah
even
blah
if they
blah.
do have this like frenemy thing going on, like you can obviously see that they're working together. I don't know why. Like, I get it. Like, I honestly feel like Cam probably thought Leah was probably feeling him a lot more than she is, to where she's gonna keep this a secret. Because even if there's a frenemy thing going on, you could
Hmm.
clearly see that Leah and MJ have some sort of working relationship together, some sort of like, let's look out for each other in this game type of thing.
Yeah, and this, like, that whole thing with them stretched out for days. Like, they were arguing so much. And the thing about them, they'll argue in public. So they'll argue in the backyard,
So
like
Cam
with
and
other
Leah is
people.
just like putting their business out
Yeah.
there.
Like they just look like a stressed out married couple that's on the brink of going to couples therapy. Like it was never that serious. Like they just
Like,
have
what
so
did
many
they even
arguments.
argue about for that long?
I don't even know. Like they were arguing all last Sunday and Monday, and Leah was really in her feelings about it that she went and told half the house. That's all she was talking about for a day. She just kept bitching and moaning about it. Oh, Cam this, Cam that, complaining about him, saying the whole thing in the house is that Cam's dirty, like cleanliness dirty. Like he leaves his dirty socks around, all this. Like Chelsea went on a monologue on the feeds about how dirty Cam is and like how he leaves trash in the room, he leaves dirty clothes everywhere. Like it was just a
There's
whole
always
thing.
one. There's always one every season.
Yeah, so that was just a lot of the unseen bits of the show. Leah also wants to have a little bit more leg in the game, and she really wants to work with Chelsea and Brooklyn, but I'm not really sure how they feel about it. I don't think Chelsea's really caring for it because what's Leah going to add to my game besides a number? So as long as I keep her close, we're good. I don't think this is something that's going to form into like an official alliance, but Leah's trying to find her way. And while she's trying to find her way, she's also distancing herself from MJ because MJ has been a little off the walls. She's been going to different people saying different things about Leah. She's also been saying some crazy things in general. Like she made a joke about her being dyslexic. She made
What?
a joke about her like, being the R word or something of the sorts. And she was warned by the DR that she needs to watch what she says because, it's going to be a problem. And there are clips surfacing on Twitter of things that MJ has said. So that's also another thing. I don't think Leah and MJ are going to really last as a duo in this game. But
Yeah. I mean, I still have faith in Leah. Like, honestly, like, I know, like, like how you're viewing your top people. I chose these people because I want to see how far they go. I'm
yeah.
going to let them do their thing
Mm-hmm.
and just see what they do with their game.
Yes. So let's talk about our top picks, how we're feeling about them, if anyone's kicked off the list, if everyone's added on the list, if everyone's staying the same. So you tell me about your topics.
Okay, so from week 1, right, I always had Cam, Leah, and Joseph, and I'm sticking with them. And then last week, I was really, starting to like really love Chelsea and Cedric's game, and I'm still loving it. Like, I honestly don't feel like, obviously you mentioned like Cam and Leah, but I still feel like that's not something that's gonna have like this like huge impact on their game. I still see them being able to last a couple weeks. I still feel like there's like other targets in the house besides the people on my list. So, I'm kind of still sticking with them, despite,
Mm-hmm.
some of them coming out the woods this week, because another one of the main reasons why I picked these people is I felt like they were low key. Like, you love Tucker, you love that he's playing the game, but I'm like, you know what? This year, I'm going to see how far my low key characters can go. So, and I feel like as far as playing their role in the house, I still feel like they're still, pretty much doing a good job. Joseph trying to branch out a little bit, but a lot of them are, talking, getting themselves in little hiccups, but what's Big Brother without that?
Right. True. Yeah, I like your list. I think your list is solid. The people on your list are doing what they can, but they're not in a bad position in the house right now. So I
Yeah.
think that's good. My top picks were Cedric, Chelsea. I had Joseph on there week 1, and I had one more. Who was it? Oh, I had MJ.
Yeah.
Week 2, I took MJ off that list because I'm just not feeling her. I don't know. There's just something about how she moves in the game that I'm just not loving. I can't put my finger on it, but I
That's why
just
when I
don't
had to pick between Leah and MJ, something just told me to go with Leah.
go with
It's
Leah. Yeah, it's just something about MJ. I don't know. I just feel like she's too. I don't know. I just don't think she knows the game,
And then it's
and
like the
it's
whole
like,
like her threatening every HOH with this power. It's like she didn't even know what to really
yeah.
do with this power to advance her game. Like, I don't feel like she used this power
You
in
know
any
what it
way.
is for me? MJ is giving me Regina George when Katie was the popular girl and she was just trying to find her way back into the circle. That's what it's giving for me, and I'm just not loving.
Wow.
So I had took her off my list week 2. I am sticking with Cedric and Chelsea. They are my top 2. They are never leaving my list. I love how they're playing the game. They're
Honestly,
very well
I
positioned.
think for me that's Joseph and Cam.
Yeah,
I think Joseph and Cam, I think they are my two that I want to ride with, and I really don't want to switch up on them. And
yeah,
that's like you with Cedric. Your list is
and
way better than mine because I see Cedric and freaking Chelsea blowing this game. I'm so mad I didn't
yeah.
see that in them week 1, but it's all right.
It's okay, but Joseph is your pick still. He thinks he's the star of the show. Meanwhile, he has 0 diary rooms in the episodes.
You know what?
But
My boy's still getting some time.
I'll give
Okay,
it
he
to him.
get more time than Rubina. He get more
I'll give
time
it
than
to him.
Brooklyn. He's still getting time.
I'll give it to him because he's cooking behind the scenes. He's a line cook right now. It's only a matter of time before he's head chef. So we'll see how Joseph plays. I'm gonna put him back on my list, because Kenny's gone, and I'm keeping Tucker because Tucker is the wild card that I need.
I
He's
love
given the
Tucker.
drama,
Tucker
and
is my favorite person. I just refuse to put him on my list because I don't think that explosiveness is gonna last him long. But I love
it's
him. I
not,
love
but I
everything he's
think,
doing. I love how he plays this game. Like I love
yeah,
it.
I'm excited but also nervous for Tucker because you can only win so many competitions before you lose your spark and that one competition sends you
Yes.
home.
Look at Michael.
So,
Look at Michael.
yeah,
That
it's
one
giving
comp he
Michael.
needed. It
It just didn't come. And I think that Tucker can do some damage in the game when he wins HOH, but I just think that he's gonna make an ally in somebody in the coming weeks, and he's gonna last a lot longer than people expect him to. And I'm not mad at it. And also, fun fact, he's friends with Cody. He said his friend Cody was on Big Brother and The Traitors, and then they cut the feeds. And
Wait,
this is
who's
why
friends
I'm
with
like
Cody?
Big Brother. Tucker.
Oh wow. So he probably
Yeah,
got some pointers, huh?
he's friends with Cody. So you see why like he's such a comp beast. But he also is like playing the game socially too because he has friends in the house. But they cut the feeds when Tucker was talking about that because apparently that's something they don't want us to see. But I'm not paying $12.99 a month to watch these feeds for you to be cutting them off. But Cedric, Chelsea, Tucker, and Joseph, y'all are on my list. I'm watching y'all, and I think y'all are going to do good
You know,
and make it to jury.
I see our main four making it very far. So
Yeah,
kudos
they're
to
going to
that.
make it to jury at least, and that's all I need. Just at least make it to jury so y'all got to vote because y'all's been ruffling the feathers since week 1, and I need y'all in the long game because I cannot wait to see who ends up in jury.
Oh my god,
Like,
I want Tucker to make it to jury because
oh my
Tucker,
God. He has
ooh,
to.
I want him to so bad.
He has to. Uh, But that's all for week 3,
As
guys.
you can
It was
see,
a
it's brewing.
crazy
It's
week.
getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah, we're only in the 3rd week, and usually we'll get this amount of drama.
Like week 5,
Maybe
like
week
last week,
5.
y'all,
Yeah,
last season, bro, we were pulling tooth and nail to get these people to do something impressive.
yo. And it was only because Sari was in the house and she wasn't doing anything, but she was like in the middle of everything. So it was kind of like, but that's long gone. Whatever.
This is a lot more
I'm
exciting.
I'm
We're getting
loving
back
this
into it.
season. I'm loving this season, yeah. Because everybody's in everybody's business. Like, they're just turning this game upside down. Like, why y'all want to know all the secrets and why y'all sharing the secrets? Like,
Like, why are we
I just
having a
love
house
it.
meeting week 3? Like, what?
Yo, why y'all exposing everybody's game? And these people are still in the house. You know what's crazy? They all decided once Quinn was put on the block. No, they all decided before eviction that whoever America nominated, they weren't going to vote out. Which was also weird because it's like, don't give America a power if y'all aren't going to let our power affect the game. Because now y'all going
Yeah,
against it.
I feel like they were handed Quinn on a platter, and they're like, you know what? Fuck that. We
Yeah.
don't care. Sorry, America. You want the
And
drama,
after
but
the
he's
veto
better for our
meeting,
game.
And after the veto meeting, the people in the house were like, who is America going to vote for? Like, they were all on the cameras like, America, please don't
Mhm.
vote for me. Like, I'm trying to do things in the game, but it's just so hard right now. Like, everybody was advocating for themselves to the feeds, and all the feedsters were like, bro, we have such a different view of the game from the TV watchers and the casuals that we really don't want Quinn to get voted up there, because then it's going to make the house guests think that we actually agreed with Tucker's plan. And it was like this whole thing about
Then why
who
did
is
people put him up
America.
there? Why
because
do you think America voted for
because
Quinn then?
because Quinn was just stirring the pot too much, and I think his DRs played a factor in terms of the feedsters voting for Quinn.
I honestly thought
Because,
America was gonna throw like a floater up there. Like I was
bro, it
like,
was between Cam, Joseph, Leah, and Quinn.
what the
Those were the
hell? What
top
about the
picks.
damn floaters? First of all,
Yeah,
why
people.
America? Why would you want the good players that are entertaining us to get out the game?
Bro, everybody was mad that Angela couldn't be nominated, first of all. People wanted Brooklyn to go up there. People wanted Chelsea to go up there because Chelsea knew MJ had the power and didn't put her up last week. Um,
But then
like
again,
the
at the same
reasons,
time, like as a viewer, why aren't you respecting their gameplay? Because as a
yeah.
person that's looking at Chelsea's game, I completely understand why she didn't do that. Person
Hmm.
looking at Cedric's game, I completely understand why he didn't put up Quinn. Like, you got to think
Hmm.
about that too. Like, they're playing for themselves. Like,
Yeah. But again, it's the casuals versus the feeders. Like, who's going to win? Um, and then they wanted to put Leah up there to have MJ's plan backfire on her and put her closest ally on the block.
oh my
So
god, that would
Leah
have been
was a
spicy.
contender.
That would have been
Yo,
spicy.
they wanted Cam up there. I forgot why they wanted Cam up there, but a lot of people were voting for Cam too. But I think the people who got the most votes were obviously Quinn, Cam, and Leah. Once this beef had settled and the week got boring before eviction. So that was a lot.
But all right, y'all, we will see what week 4 has in store for us. You know, Dory already
Yeah,
know a little bit about that, but she gonna keep her mouth shut.
I will. We'll talk about it next week. So that was all. Thank you for listening to our podcast. We hope you enjoyed this week's chaos. Make sure you check us out on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for exclusive content. Now, let me get back to the live feeds because the drama is brewing.
Bye.
Bye.